Welcome back to Public Affairs on Peach. I'm Bobby Capel. We continue our conversation now, this time with Vic Reynolds, Cobb County District Attorney and former police officer, and attorney Mwawi Mel Davis. Let's start with one stat that has protesters upset, the fact that in 2015 there was not an indictment of a police officer for shooting a black person. I want to get your reaction to that and kind of start there.
You know, it's troubling. Obviously, I think any DA would agree that those numbers shouldn't be what they are. But every case has to be looked at on an individual basis. For example, in our circuit, we have a large county. We have 741,000 people. Thankfully, we're not touched with that many law enforcement shootings. The ones we have, I think we look at it thoroughly. We let GBI look at it. We've let police departments look at it. We let our major crime unit look at it. We let a grand jury look at it. So I think every case has to be looked at individually. But certainly, you see numbers of those natures, and I've read the articles, the editorials, the exposés, when that number of cases are looked at and no one's indicted or charged. It's concerning, absolutely.
Mr. Davis?
What it shows is there's a systemic issue. And so I know that it's easy for us to look at it as isolated incidents, but we have to look at the numbers across the board. And systemically, it shows that law enforcement officers that use force are far less likely to be charged than regular citizens. And we know that they're in a entirely different context, that their job requires them to run into danger, and we respect that. But at the same time, we have to be honest with ourselves that law enforcement, out of all of these numbers, somebody didn't make a mistake. Someone didn't shoot the wrong person. Someone didn't use excessive force. Out of all of these cases, and I think the answer, and you see the response in the street, is we know just inherently in our own spirit that couldn't be true. And so you see this visceral reaction of people who are saying enough's enough, and they're taking to the street and they're protesting and they're raising their voice to be heard so that this will not continue.
As a prosecutor, when you see the videos of the shootings from the last week, what goes through your head? Well,
anytime you see up close and personal the death of another human being, it's extremely troubling. But you have to remember this: too often people make decisions rashly. They make decisions on a split second of 20 seconds of video, 15 seconds of video, 30 seconds of video. It's that prosecutor's job eventually, not initially, but eventually, to look at everything that's been done by law enforcement to make some determination of where that case ought to go. On occasion, prosecutors would have to disagree with law enforcement if they've done it wrong. But my concern would be when viewers, and I understand the initial raw gut emotion, as a former cop, as a former prosecutor, as a prosecutor now, as a former defense attorney, when I see that type of thing on TV, it's troubling. It bothers me, but again, you can't make the decision. At least where I'm sitting, I can't do it. I can't afford to make the decision based on those 15, 30 seconds of video. You have to get the entire circumstance, the entire investigation together before you can make a call on it.
What were your reactions?
I was dismayed. I was hurt. It's painful. I think what people tend to underestimate is the pain that a community is suffering. So we will handle a civil rights case for a family and seek to try to resolve that individual case. But time and time again, when the African American community continues to see this pattern of killings and shootings and death at the hands of law enforcement, there's no time to heal. They're happening so frequently. And so I feel the pain. I feel the pain of our community who are just absolutely frustrated and really just have lost confidence in fair policing and prosecuting of officers in this country.
When we come back, a look at what happened in Dallas.